Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. This is Tariq. Today our topic is demand analysis, means buyer behavior. We will study in this section. The market carry two sides, buyers and sellers, but in here we will focus on only the behavior of buyer, one who is demanding for goods and services, or you can say force of demand. As well as we will learn about the factors due to which the quantity demand of any particular commodity change. The demand curve change its position, shift upward or downward. We are starting the chapter from our first topic, that is law of demand. This is one microeconomic principle, or you can say microeconomic theory. According to the law of demand, there is negative relationship between the price of any particular commodity and the quantity demanded for that particular commodity. If the price of a particular commodity increase, the quantity demand of the public for that particular commodity will decrease, and if the price of that particular commodity decrease, the quantity demand of the people for that particular commodity will increase, keeping other things constants. What are the other things? Like income, like population, like taste, like prices of the related goods and future expectations. We are assuming that these things are constants. In the real life, we cannot keep these things constant because income, population, taste, prices of the substitute, these are changeable. But we are assuming that for the applicability of the law of demand, that the law of demand is working, this is applicable, we are assuming these things will be constant. Why we are keeping these other factors constant? Because the quantity demand of the particular commodity does not only depends on the price of that commodity, but it depends on the other factors also, and those other factors are income, population, taste, prices of the related goods and services, and future expectations. Now we are learning that what are the reasons that there is negative relationship between the price and quantity demand of any particular commodity. The first reason, that is real income, or you can say real purchasing power of the money. That when the price of any particular commodity increase in the market, so the real purchasing power of the money in hands of the individual to purchase that commodity, that will decrease. For example, suppose the price of marker is 25 rupees in market, and individual carry Mr. Hidayat. Suppose individual is Mr. Hidayat. Mr. Hidayat carry 100 rupees. With 25 price, Mr. Hidayat can purchase 4 markers. But when the price of marker double from 25 to 50, now Hidayat can purchase with the same money only 2 markers. So demand decreased from 4 markers to 2 markers. The reason is what? That the real purchasing power of the money in the hands of the Hidayat decreased, and he is now purchasing only 2 markers. He is now demanding only 2 markers. So that is why we are saying that there is negative relationship between the price of the commodity and quantity demand for that commodity. The second reason of the negative relationship between the price of a particular commodity and the quantity demand for that commodity, that is availability of the substituted goods and services. For example, suppose I am saying that we have whiteboard and blackboard. If the price of the whiteboard increase in the market, so automatically the people will try to purchase blackboard. Now as the whiteboard get expensive, the people switch toward the blackboard, and demand for the whiteboard decrease and for the blackboard increase. So when the price of whiteboard increase, the people switch to the blackboard and demand for the whiteboard decrease, because substitute for the whiteboard is available. So this is another reason that there is negative relationship between the price of the particular commodity and the quantity demand for that commodity. And here commodity is whiteboard, and as the price of whiteboard increase, the people, the educational institutes switch to the blackboard, and demand automatically for whiteboard decrease. So when the price of whiteboard increase, demand for the whiteboard decrease. The reason is availability of the substituted goods. This is another reason there is negative relationship between the price and the quantity demand for a particular commodity. And the third one, that is the reason, the third one reason of the negative relationship between the price of the particular commodity and the quantity demand for that commodity, that is price effect. For example, suppose I am saying that there are six students, suppose, and out of the 6 students, 3 students carry $7,000 and 3 students carry $6,000. If the price of Corolla motor, that is $6,000, so these 6 students can purchase Corolla car. But if the price decrease, if the price increase from $6,000 to $7,000, so this increase in price discourage the 3 students to purchase this Corolla car, and now only 3 students, those who carry $7,000, can afford the car, and quantity demand for the car decrease from 6 to 3 units of car. So it's mean increase in the price actually discourage the 3 customers, eliminate from the market. This is price effect, that when the price increase, demand for the car decrease, and this there is negative relationship between the price of any particular commodity and the quantity demanded for that commodity. So these are the 3 reasons due to which there is negative relationship between the price and quantity demand of the commodity. One is real purchasing power or real income, other is availability of substitute, and the third reason of the negative relationship between the price of the commodity and the quantity demand for that commodity, that is price effect. Now we are switching toward the demand table. A demand table define different quantities demanded at different prices, and this is very clear from this table. This column number first, that represent prices, and column number second, Q and D, represent quantity demanded. When the price is 1, at that time the quantity demand of the particular commodity, that is 8 units. But when the price increase from 1 to 2, the quantity demand of that particular commodity decreased from 8 to 6, decreased by 2 units. So demand table, we can describe that different quantities demanded at different prices. This is very clear from the table, as well as we can say demand table describe negative relationship between the price of the quantity demand and negative relationship between the price of the particular commodity and the quantity demand of that particular commodity. The price is increasing from 1 to 2 and quantity demand is decreasing from 8 to 6. Negative relationship. From this demand table we can draw the demand curve, and demand curve again we can describe that demand curve show the negative relationship between the price of the particular commodity and the quantity demand for that particular commodity. And when we plot these values, that different quantities demanded at different prices, when we plot in a graph, and this graph will tell us graphically the negative relationship between the price and quantity demanded, as this is very clear from the graph. Demand curve define different quantities demanded at different prices, and demand curve is downward sloping, negatively sloped, show negative relationship between the price and quantity as shown in the graph. This is very clear from the graph that when the price is 1, at that time the demand is 8 units, but when the price increased to 2, at that time demand decreased to 6 units. This graph, this is another statistical tool that also show us the negative relationship between the price and quantity demand, as table tells us negative relationship between the price and quantity demanded. This was little about the law of demand and the reasons due to which there is negative relationship between the quantity demand and price of the particular commodity. Now we are proceeding toward the determinants of quantity demanded. In this section we will learn about the different factors due to which the quantity demand of any particular commodity change: increased demand or decreased demand. The very first one, that is price of the particular commodity. As we discussed in the law of demand, that there is negative relationship between the price of the particular commodity as well as the quantity demanded for that commodity. That as the price of any particular commodity increase, the quantity demand to purchase that product will decrease, and when the price decrease, the quantity demand to purchase that product will rise. Again, negative relationship between the price of the commodity and quantity demand for that commodity. So this is first factor due to which the quantity demand of any particular commodity change. One thing more, that according to the microeconomist, mostly and immediately the quantity demand of any particular commodity change because of change in price of that particular commodity. The second factor due to which the quantity demand change, that is income. That is what? Income. If income of the individual change, his purchasing power will also change. For example, if the income of individual rise, so his demand for normal goods will increase and for inferior commodities will decrease. Normal commodities, those commodities which are good for health, which the people like, good quality, brands, that is normal commodity, and inferior, low quality, which are bad, which are not good for health. So we have two types commodities, one is normal and other is inferior. When the income of the people increase, when income of any individual increase, his demand for normal goods will increase, but for inferior commodities his demand will decrease. But when his income decrease, then his demand for inferior commodity will rise and for normal commodity will decrease. For example, suppose I am saying that Mr. Hidayat is earning only 5,000 Afghani per month. So he is using cycle to come to the university. But when he graduates and he got a job and now he is earning 50,000 Afghani, so his income increased. Now he is using personal car. It's mean his demand for normal commodity, car is a good quality, that is good for health, more comfortable. His demand for normal commodity increased, and cycle as compared to the motor car, that is inferior, his demand for cycle decreased, and now he is using motor car and he give up the cycle. So as I told you, that income is also one factor due to which the quantity demand change. When the income increase, demand for normal commodities, for best commodities, for good quality commodity rise, and for low quality commodity decrease. But when income decrease, demand for inferior commodities, low quality will rise, and for normal commodity will decrease. So income is also one factor due to which the quantity demand change. Third one, population. Again, this is very clear that if population of the Afghanistan increase, automatically the quantity demand of the public will increase, and if the population decrease, quantity demand of the people will decrease. This is very clear. The fourth one, future expectations. And this is also one factor due to which the quantity demand change. Suppose I am saying that Mr. Hidayat is a businessman and he is a cement dealer, or you can say Mr. Hidayat is builder. He is constructing the government buildings, government properties like motorway, highway, offices, houses, schools, colleges. Mr. Hidayat is a builder. But he is expecting that in the near future the price of cement is going to decrease. This is his expectation, his guessing about the market. He is thinking that in the near future, after a month or 2 months, the price of cement will reduce. Now, currently, he will stop purchase of huge quantity of cement, and he will wait for the time, for the near future, that when the price of cement decrease, then he will purchase a large, huge quantity of cement. So currently, what happened? Currently, his demand for cement decreased, though the price of cement does not change, but because of his future expectations that in the near future, he is thinking that in the near future the price of cement will fall. Currently he stopped purchasing, he decreased to purchase the cement, he is waiting for the near future. So currently price of the cement is same, but because of his thinking, his future expectation that in the near future the price will decrease, that is why currently he is not purchasing, and currently his quantity demand for cement will reduce. So it's mean these are the factors other than price that the quantity demand is changing. Price of the product does not change, but quantity demand is changing because of the factors other than price, like income, like population, like expectations. And the fifth one, that is prices of the related goods and services. So two types of related goods we have: substituted goods and complementary goods. Substituted goods and services. The goods that we can replace for each other, we call these are substitutes, like for example wheat and rice, like for example air condition and fan, like for example whiteboard and blackboard, we can substitute for each other. So how we can interpret the substitutes? When the price of one commodity increase and the quantity demand for other commodity, which is substituted commodity, also increase, these both commodities are closed substitutes. For example, whiteboard and blackboard. If the price of whiteboard in the market increase, so definitely institutes will try to purchase blackboard. So when the institutes are switching to the blackboard, demand for whiteboard is decreasing. But because of the increase in price of the whiteboard, the people are switching to the blackboard, and the quantity demand for blackboard also increase. That is why we interpret that substitutes are those commodities that when price of one commodity increase and demand for other commodity increase, these both commodities are substituted commodities, like electricity and solar energy, like whiteboard and blackboard, like wheat and rice, etc., etc. These are all substitutes. So in here the price of blackboard does not change, but because of the increase in the price of whiteboard, the people switch to the blackboard. The price of blackboard is same. The people switch to the blackboard, and the quantity demand for the blackboard also increase. So demand change because of change in prices of the substituted goods. And the next one, related good, that is complementary goods. Complementary goods are those goods that we use jointly. So how we can interpret complementary goods? When the price of one commodity increase and the quantity demand for other commodity decrease, these both commodities are complementary commodities. For example, suppose I am saying personal computer and software window, that if the price of PC increase, this is get expensive. The people cannot purchase. When the PC get expensive, automatically the demand of the people to purchase personal computer will reduce. So when the people cannot purchase computers, so what they will do to purchase software? Automatically demand for the software will reduce. So as the price of personal computer increase, demand for the software decrease. Both commodities are complementary commodities. When the price of one rise and demand for other reduce. For example, we can say whiteboard and marker. So if the price of whiteboard increase in the market, so institutes switch to the blackboard. Institutes are not purchasing whiteboard. So when institutes are not purchasing whiteboard, what they will do to purchase the marker? Automatically demand for the marker will reduce. So both commodities are complementary commodities. We are using jointly at a time. If one get expensive, demand for other will automatically reduce. Now we are switching toward the changes in quantity demand. Changes in quantity demanded. We will study two types of changes in quantity demanded. Economists divide the changes in quantity demanded into two types. The very first one we call that is extension means increase and contraction mean decrease in quantity demanded. Extension and contraction of the quantity demanded. When the quantity demand change because of change in price, this type of change is called extension and contraction of quantity demanded. According to the microeconomist, mostly and immediately the quantity demand of any particular commodity change because of the change in price of that commodity. So when the price increase, the quantity demand of that commodity will decrease, and when the price decrease, the quantity demand of that commodity will rise. This increase and decrease in quantity demand because of the change in price, that is called extension and contraction in quantity demand. And in this case of changes in quantity demand, movement will be along the demand curve, negatively sloped curve. When the price increase, the demand of the individual for that particular commodity will decrease, and when the price decrease, demand for that particular commodity will rise. Movement is along the curve. The curve will remain same and the demand table will remain same in this first type of change in quantity demand, which is extension and contraction in demand. The second one we call that shift in quantity demanded. In this section we will we will learn about those factors other than price due to which the quantity demand of any particular commodity change, and the demand curve change its position, it shift upward or it shift downward. The very first reason that is increase in income. As the income of the people rise, so price of the commodity is same, but the people get rich, their purchasing power increase. When their purchasing power increase, their demand for the particular commodity will rise, and at the same price the demand will increase and demand curve will shift upward. But if the income of the people decrease, now the price is same but purchasing power reduce, at the same price quantity demanded of the people for the same commodity will reduce and demand curve will shift backward. So in here movement is not along the curve, demand curve is changing its position, it shift upward or it shift downward because price is same, and quantity demand is changing not because of price, it's changing because of the factor other than price, and that factor is income level. As this is the second one, increase in population. Again, this is very clear that when population increase, So at the same price, demand for the particular commodity will rise. Price does not decrease, price is same, but population increase. The people come back to Afghanistan, so automatically their demand for goods and services will rise. Price is same, demand increase, demand curve will shift upward. But if the population reduce, at the same price, quantity demand will decrease and demand curve will shift backward. In here, price of the particular commodity is same, but quantity demand is changing because of change in population. It will shift upward and then it will shift downward. And as this is very clear from the graph, that this blue color line, that is first demand curve, and the demand curve shift upward when the population increase in population resulting shift in demand curve. The demand curve shift upward when price is 1. At that time, the quantity demand, that is how much the quantity demand is 8. At price 1, the quantity demand is 8, but at the same price 1, quantity demand increased to 11, 10.5, or you can say round about 11. This is why, because the population increased. And when the price is 2, at that time quantity demand is a 6. At 2, the quantity demand is this 6. But when this population decrease, so the demand curve shift backward, and when the demand curve shift backward at this 2 price, the demand is now around about 2.5. So it's mean that increase in population, as population change, automatically quantity demanded will change and demand curve will change its position. So this shift is shown in the graph, that this is first demand curve, and when the population increase at the same price, price does not decrease. The demand increase from 8 to 10.5 and demand curve shift upward. But when the population reduce, demand curve shift downward, and at the same price, demand decreased to 2.5. So it's mean that when population decrease, demand will decrease, and when population increase, demand will increase, and demand curve shift upward or shift downward. The next one, that is taste. Taste include fashion, custom, tradition, weather, festivals. So the quantity demand of the public for the particular commodity also change because of change in taste, because of change in season. For example, nowadays the summer season is coming, so the people are purchasing the cotton clothes. So the price of cotton clothes does not decrease, but because of the seasonal changes, that summer season is coming, price does not decrease. Summer season is coming, and because of the summer season, the people are demanding more and more cotton clothes, so the quantity demand increased just because of change in season, not because of change in price. So taste is also one reason due to which the quantity demand change, and demand curve will change its position. It will shift upward or it will shift downward.